Hello and welcome to the Queber channel. I am Jason, your host. I hope you all have a reason to smile. Now, as most people know, that the reason I do these vlogs each day isn't to be famous, it isn't to have a channel that goes anywhere. It never will. I mean, I don't follow the algorithm or anything. What it is every single morning, whatever's on my mind, whatever's in my head, by grabbing it and throwing it at the wall, the video wall, I can get on with my day. My brain isn't stuck in whatever loop that it's in, and it does help. So, what's the phrase that a normal person will say that tells you they have no fucking idea about mental health and that? Just walk it off. Just ignore it. Just get past it. Just get over it. Just get over it. You fuckers are so lucky. You are that your brain works in a way that you can do that. That you can have something like your bank account might be fucked. Your bills might be coming out and there might not be enough money. But it doesn't completely crucify you and stop you from doing anything else. It doesn't become a barrier you can do. You can put it to the back of your mind and move on and do other things. Even when you deal with tragedy, unless you don't actually deal with it, the trauma of it and that, you manage to function and move on. You manage to put it to the back of your mind and deal with what you have to. People like me don't. And when you say to us, just move on, get on with it, it shows a complete lack of intelligence and understanding of the human mind and of autism and ADHD and bipolar and all those wonderful things. So let me explain one of the high points of this situation. In 1998, my soon-to-be wife was diagnosed with cancer, acute lymphoblastic leukemia with Philadelphia chromosome positive. Those that have any knowledge of it will know that that is a death sentence. First of all, it's a childhood leukemia, so if you get it as an adult, it's harder to fight. And if you got a Philadelphia chromosome positive, it means there's no cure. There's no possible way to stop it. All you can do is get a medication, a drug, like interferon or Gleevec or others like that, imatinib, that will allow your body to suppress it, to slow it down, to stop it getting to the point where it initiates into full leukemia. Your only tactic is to punch the body as hard as possible right at the start to drop down the leukemic cells to the point where you can use a preventative. It's a preventative. You can't ever stop it. You can't ever just use it. It is a preventative which actually will just prevent the body from starting down the path of leukemia. What they do is they give you full body irradiation to kill off your body, but first they will have taken, either you will have a bone marrow transplant or they will take some of your own bone marrow out, and what they do is they clean the bone marrow, they blast your body with irradiation, killing off the entire bone marrow system, which is very dangerous because if the bone marrow they put back in doesn't restart, you die. It's a Hail Mary, and you're not doing this to cure it, you're doing it just to push the body into a forced remission so that the medication they're going to give you for the rest of your life can keep it suppressed. That's how serious it is. It is deadly. It is not a, oh, there's something you can do to stop this. No, this is the only thing. Now, these days, in 2020 and that, they are starting to do gene replacement and that, but that's very expensive, very high thingy. So apart from that, you're stuck on this thing. Now, the problem is that when Paola got ill in 1998, I spent all day at hospital with her, which was terrifying for me because I didn't like hospital, didn't like being around other people, didn't like anything like that. But I held on to her hands and I was there for her. And then when I left there, I would go to the library because this was 1998. We did not have Google. We had medical manuals. We had books in the library. So each night I would go into the library and I would book out. I would sit in that library for 3-4 hours reading up on cancer, reading up on leukemia. I even got to the point where I actually wrote a letter, not email, a letter, because we were in the 90s, to the person who wrote the book and asked him some questions, which he replied. Now, I found out that Paola was going to die. I found out how she was going to die. That was their fun thing. Oh yes, in 1998, I found out that Paola's body was basically going to weaken and self-destruct. That the medication that was suppressing the cancer would actually slowly damage her heart, her liver, her skin. All of her body would get damaged by this. And we, of course, we couldn't stop it once you were on it. If you stopped it and the cancer came back 6 weeks later, she would be dead because she was too weak to go through the irradiation again and to push it back into forced remission. Basically, it was game over if she stopped. Plus the kidney damage and everything. Every system in her body was systemically slowly damaged by this. So, I had this knowledge in 1998 that how Paola was going to die. I couldn't push that to the back of my mind. Every time I saw Paola, it would be there at the front of my mind. For the next 20 years, while we fought this horrible illness, and it slowly disabled her and damaged her body and damaged her hands, caused premature arthritis, caused a type of diabetes, caused damage to her, caused her kidneys to fail, caused her skin to fall off and die and become necrotic. And I had to take, I learned how to do pedicures so I could cut away the dead skin on my own wife's feet, and that's so that the good stuff underneath, because the NHS could only send out someone once a week, and Paola's skin was dying so quickly that I had to cut off dead skin off my wife. That's still there at the front of my mind. It never goes away. It never goes to the back of my mind. I was told when my wife died that I will never be able to grieve her. The 5 stages of grief that they tell you about only work for normal people. They don't work for someone with the different kind of brain that I have. So when you fuckers tell me to shake it off, tell me to move on, to get over it, you are just showing how fucking ignorant you bastards are. Because you don't know. I will never be able to go through the grieving process. I will never be able to truly say goodbye. I lived through the last 30 minutes of Paola's life while I was standing there and watching the doctors trying to save her once her heart finally failed. I will always have absolute clarity of the feelings of that moment. I will have absolute clarity of the feelings of 1998 when I read those medical journals and knew that my fucking wife, who was only 21, was going to go through such pain and suffering, and I couldn't hide that. So I stuck around and I was there for my wife, and I burnt myself out completely. They say I did massive damage to what was already a autistic brain in there by going through all this alone and looking after her alone. But I did it. Because every time I saw her fighting, every time I saw her bravely smiling or asking if someone else needed help, I knew that anything I was going through was nothing compared to what she was going through. And none of these things that I've gone through, none of the traumas I've gone through, can be pushed to the back of my mind and not thought about. This is why I need things like the retro computer over there and the arcade machine and things like that. Because for those few minutes of playing on those things and the few minutes I spend playing games on my computer and things like that, I don't do it because I want to game on these computers. I do it because it takes my brain away from the reality. I've lived my entire life based on a set of coping strategies to make it possible for me to function. I can never forget all of this stuff and I can never get rid of it, but I can distract my brain. Computer games are great for distracting my brain. Going out on the mobility scooter is amazing for distracting my brain. So, yeah. Move on. Shrug it off. I'm sorry, but any of you normal people out there who have no empathy, the little shits that fuck around all the time, you would not last 5 minutes. There's a reason why I'm classed as a miracle. There's a reason why the doctors expected me to end up in a psych ward. There's a reason why my most experienced mental health professional is so happy that I'm alive and functioning and independent, because everybody else he's ever known with even half of the problems that I deal with either died or they're locked away. Think about that. This is Jason for the Clever Channel. I hope you're having a good day.